Good morning and happy Tuesday. Welcome to Smart Impressions. I'm Rachel. And if you've ever walked into a new environment and you smelled so good that you've enjoyed being there, or even if you've met someone new and you've just been repulsed by the way they smell, then this show's for you. We have our special guest today, who's the founder and CEO of Dhawan Myst, Atul Dhawan, with us. Welcome to the show.
Morning, and thank you for getting me onto the show.
I'm so happy you're here. You have such a great brand that can be found all over the UAE in every shop you could possibly imagine. But I really want to venture into this idea of the impact of smell on our senses. And today's title is all about the sweet scent of revenue, which our listeners want to hear more about. So, Atul, what do you got when it comes to smells? I'm sure different smells pique different emotions, right?
That's right. Smells do trigger different emotions for people in different times. And yes, each fragrance would create a different kind of effect on a human. And that will vary from individual to individual. It cannot be the same for you and for me. But yes, that's what fragrances and smells do.
So basically, are you suggesting that if put it on me, it's going to smell different than if you put the same scent as a perfume on your skin? It's like a
That's
pheromone
right.
thing?
You are correct there because the DNA of your body reacts to fragrances differently than the DNA of my body, which will react to it in another way. And the same fragrance on your body will smell differently to you and to me differently.
Wow, amazing. Science is quite incredible. So, what are some of the most popular scents that you find your customers are loving, whether it be in their home? Because you really have a variety. You have candles, you have the mist, you have different ways to actually inhaling through our senses. So, what are some of the popular ones?
See, it depends from, again, as I said, from people to people. Lavender, if you use that, it helps people do a different kind of a thing. Some people get calm with it, they get stress relief, the things like that, which happens with the lavender. Vanilla, it is sweet, it's comforting, it's not nostalgic. It changes the fragrance and the thinking there. If you look at the citrus, it's for me. I love it. It boosts my energy. It makes me feel more elevated. So it'll change. If it's a rose, I think it's more romantic in the evening. And people use different fragrances at different times of the day. Use a sandalwood, use a peppermint, use a eucalyptus for spas and all. Those kind of fragrances will go. If you look at a cinnamon, well, it's a different thinking, memories. So as you go in fragrances, it'll keep on changing your thinking that defined differently. They're floral, they're woody, they're oud. So, every fragrance depends on what mood you are into, what mood you want to get into. It enhances that. Fragrance is all about that.
Fantastic. And there's no doubt that fragrances also evoke memories, wouldn't you say? And how does it impact kind of our past or the moments that we've experienced that may be re-triggered by the smells you have?
See, several scents are known for the ability to evoke strong and memorable emotions in people. Okay, you might relate a fragrance to something which you've gone to in your young time, at a middle age, when your child was born, when your office environment is there, if you go to a hotel. So those kind of memories which are there get evoked when you get into a environment which has that fragrance around you. That's the factor which will change, and that's what it'll do to you all the time. So that's, I think people relate to fragrances for various reasons, and it impacts their life with that, I guess.
Definitely. Well, I know every time I walk into a spa, you're going to find some of those frequently use the same scents are around that space. And so something like lemongrass, what is that fragrance meant to inhibit or drive?
It's basically a soothing and a cooling fragrance for a lot of people, including me. When I have lemongrass, it's usually in the morning time and evening time. In the daytime, if you give me lemongrass, probably my main thinking time, soothing time is the morning. And when I go back after all hard days work in the evening, I prefer a lemongrass at that time. It's one of my favorites. It works for me.
Mm,
So I think for people, it will change moods also based on that. That depends. When you go back, you're relaxed, you want to get more relaxed, you use that, it cools you down, then you get into a different mood and change your mood accordingly and walk away. So yes, that's what it does to me, and I think lemongrass is one of those which does that to a lot of people, soothing.
So you probably not the best place to have it burning candles, lemongrass burning during the day when you're supposed to be working, right? So, but imagine walking into an office where you smell the same scent every time you walk in. I would assume that you would, if you were to smell that scent anywhere else in your life, you would have an immediate response of that experience, that emotional trigger that scent was able to provide you. So I know that we receive smells maybe differently. Our skin is giving out, the different smells differently. What do you recommend when it comes to a business environment that people use, or how they use smells? Because there's no doubt there are moments where I'm overpowered by some of the smells, that I smell maybe too much cologne, right? Or something that's really strong that maybe my sensory doesn't really enjoy. So
See,
what do you recommend for that?
it's a thing which you need to be a little considerate about when you're going into an environment like you are talking about the work environment. And it has to be subtle and natural. Number one, okay, it does not have to be very overbearing, and I think it would be a little helpful if you talk to your colleagues who are sitting around you most of the time. If it's fine with them, the fragrance which they're wearing, it's not a show off, but it's just so that if somebody is getting affected, because some people have allergies to fragrances and stuff. Okay, so that can affect the environment and probably have you on the wrong side of their books if it's affecting them. So I think that's a way which needs to be done. You need to be using the product very well, and it's for your well-being and for the people around you. So you need to take a little care when you use a fragrance. Yeah, you might love it, but if you're going to an environment every day which is going to harm other people or people are getting affected, you might as well not use it in that environment. Probably in another environment it will work. So yes, you need to be careful and considerate to use the fragrances which help you be happy and calm and elevate you compared to the people around you also. So that's the way it should be bought and used, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, I can't. I mean, there's no doubt. You could probably tell me candles are probably one of the most popular gift to give people, right? They really elevate your environment. What are some of the things you've found, or you could advise about how to find the right candles for people that you give gifts for?
Okay, so yes, as you are right here now in this new world or in this environment, candles are taking over as gift items compared to your flowers before and your wines and other stuff which people used to carry. It's become one because fragrance is a very growing market across the globe. A lot of people use a lot of fragrance, and if you see, it's one of the fastest growing markets of the world. So fragrance helps, and when you give somebody a fragrance which is nice and they like it, you have done the job more than anything else. And the value of the gift is not important. For what price you're getting, you could buy a candle for 20 dirhams to a candle worth 10,000 dirhams. There are brands which sell candles at 10,000 dirhams too. Okay, but the fact is, the impression and the value of your gift is more appreciated if it's liked by a person. So a candle which has a fragrance, which is liked by somebody, really works. So if I had to gift a candle, I would ideally gift to a person when I know what the preferences would be. So my ideal way is I would ask you, what are your fragrances which you like? And when you tell that to me, I ideally want to give you that and remember that. Yeah, we do change sometimes. Like probably I might like something which is very, very nice for me. And I would say, okay, this is what you like. I know that. So I'm gifting you that. It's in my mind when I'm coming to your house or to your place. But I would add one of my favorite also to that to tell you, experience this kind. Probably it helps. So that's the way it is. And I think knowing a person's preference is very important. What the likes and dislikes are critical. A lot of people like floral, a lot of women like floral fragrances quite a lot compared to citrus or other ones. Oud, a lot of local people love it. We have a blend, we do our blending with our French perfumer. So I think it comes in very well, and it's not the typical hard hitting oud, but when we blend it, it becomes very nice, and we really sell very well, and people love it.
Amazing. Well, there's no doubt. I think candles last longer than flowers. So it's definitely higher on the priority list to give to somebody that you're trying to impress or to someone that you're working with. It's a beautiful idea as a gift. And just imagine every time they light it, that's essentially evoking an emotion internally with one of our senses that can connect to you in that experience they have with you, which is so powerful. You can't pay for that. Would you agree?
I agree with you there. This is the
Wonderful.
experience. Yeah, you just can't pay for it. It's just a value which is, if it hits somebody, it just hits somebody.
Yes, and it's powerful. Makes a huge impact. So the candles, I know everyone's talking about, well, what's inside the candle that makes it really healthy, and what are the health benefits around it, and really, that it's clean for us to actually breathe. So what are your candles actually made with?
Okay, so now the new trend is the paraffin is going away because it was considered to have a little bit of cancerous effect or whatever, as some research say. But the more candle which is being used now is the soya wax, and they've gone even a step further. But soya is the most common in terms of affordability, in terms of usage, in terms of it being healthy in the environment. And yes, the fragrance which you put in is the effect, the concoction, the mixing, which helps it go and produce the kind of effect which you wanting to create with the fragrance in an environment, and that's what it does. Like in a spa, when you use eucalyptus or kind of a product or a lemongrass, it gives a very soothing and relaxing feeling for people who are smelling that kind of air there. And soya is something which helps. And in our brand, I think we've done some good research where it helps quite a lot, because what happens with soya compared to a paraffin was a solid base, which if you saw while you were growing up, it would go on one side and there will be a blob of wax around there. In soya wax, what happens, it turns into liquid when it's heated, and with the fragrance also involved in it, in the liquid, it burns as a liquid below, so the fragrance is evenly distributed. And when you leave it off and it cools down, because it's a liquid, it settles also properly in the same fashion, so that when you burn it the next time, the fragrance again is evenly distributed, rather than in a paraffin, which was not the case.
Well, I can't thank you enough for this information. I'm envisioning walking in. There's real estate's a big situation here in Dubai right now. Imagine walking into your next apartment or home, what you're looking to buy, and you just are taken by the scent of how delicious it smells. That you walk in going, oh, it smells so good. Or when you walk into a bakery and you smell the fresh bread, people are really, you essentially want to buy immediately, and it really triggers you. Or if you're going into a bathroom and you smell something citrusy or clean, you'll have the immediate reaction that, oh, you're feeling clean and sanitary, right? So these smells are triggering different reactions and different emotions depending on what you are smelling. So you won't believe it, Atul. My New York minute, 15 a minute smart impression goes by very fast, and we've already gotten close to our end time. I want to leave our listeners with a couple tips and your top 3 tips of how they should engage and really consider scents when in the business world. What do you have?
Well, as I said, what you're wearing in the market, what you want to wear, you need to be subtle and natural. Seek feedback from to accommodate preferences. Use them strategically to enhance productivity and well-being. And then, all scents do create a lot of effect in human beings. So familiarity and association, you have to have emotional response, which is important, and perceived quality. These are kind of things which you need to keep in mind. And then behavioral cues of people. If somebody is reacting to a fragrance, you need to be a little careful, and that's the way it should be, and work with it.
Amazing. Well, I can't thank you enough for joining me today to talk all about scent. And here it's all about the sweet scent of revenue because we want to make more of an impact. And I do believe that scents are going to directly influence if people want to hang out with you. So that is part of that smart impression. If they want to come back because it smells so good, then that's what you can give them. So check out Aura Mist, at anywhere from Waitrose to Centerpoint. You guys are all over the place in town, and really enjoy some of the range of selected scents out in the market for your customers and clients today. Thank you, Atul, for joining me today. I can't thank you enough for your time. I hope it's a smelling good time for your day.
Thank you, Rachel, for getting me on this show. And I hope my information was a little informative for the customers who look at buying fragrances. It's not only candles, but any fragrance when you buy. I think these are kind of tips which you need to keep in mind. And it works very well. But yes, candles are the part which is growing today. And they're good gifts. The corporate people are gifting that. And fragrance is something which you'll see is the top growth industry in the coming world, especially in the Middle East. It is there and it helps.
Well, it's prevalent in this region. I think everyone would probably say they smell a lot of scents in this town. So get the scent that's best for your customer and make it unique and unified and personal. That's the biggest tip I'm walking away with. So thank you again, Atul. I'll see you guys next week for another week of Smart Impressions.